I'm going to do a long, rambling mystery vlog right now. An e-vlog. This is probably that episodic kind of thing. It's an episode in the ongoing 8-year struggle so far. So, if you're a regular viewer and you know how to work this thing and you know how to do a video, then this is the video for you. But if you don't quite know what's going on and you don't know me, then don't judge me for this. Go to my other videos, the ones with the hot topics, the ones about celebrities, the ones about like what the comet's gonna do, or what was the latest bad news where blood was splattered all over the place. Go to those videos, because that's what people like, and that's why I got over 40 million views up to this point. These videos right here that I do, the real me, gets maybe, I don't know, 1,000 after a year on one video. Like this one, it's not going to be as much. But we all know that this is higher quality, because if you have the attention span and you know what this technology is about, you know how to deal with video, then this is how we do it. This is how we roll. So behind me is the playground, and that just happens to be my location right now. I love playgrounds. There should be playgrounds of all varieties. So in the United States you find certain ones, and other countries they're always a certain way. And granted, there's a lot of variety, but I can get more creative with them. And we need to integrate the adults in with it, so that there's an adult side for larger bodies and the things that they can do, like obstacle course or stuff, and then there's the part where the kids can be. So it should be family playgrounds, and then the real safe, small scale one for the kids in one area, and like the center or off on one side, and then the rest of it a larger one for the adults. You really need a larger amount of space for the adults, because it's a larger, bigger scale, and they just move more distances when they're going like this. So they can cover 100 feet, whereas the kids might only cover about 10 feet or 20 feet. See, so they don't do it that way. As much variety as you see with the playgrounds, they don't. Alright, anyhow. I could talk about anything when I go on these mystery vlogs. I want to get into like what's real, and just to touch on the website, because everybody's been talking about it this past month, because Google Plus came out full force and just took over the comments, and before they did that they got rid of the video responses. And just to give you a word about that, the simple explanation and the reasoning behind it, the rationale, is that Google as a company competing is trying to beat Facebook. That's what it appears to be on the surface. That's the reason. Not any other reason. It doesn't appear any other way to me. It just appears that way. So if this means that Google Plus has already been selected by the powers that be to be the #1 social networking site, we'll probably see that by the end of 2014 or going into 2015. We'll definitely, that'll be established as a mainstream fact. They're just trying to figure out ways to observe and monitor people better. Oh, so that, that rationale might have some covert types of things, motivation within it. So there goes, that's the surface explanation, but if you dig deeper, a lot of people have theories as to the real reasons for this. And it has a lot to do with surveillance, as it has a lot to do with destroying the community of YouTube. It has well, that's it, man. So I'm going to tell you, like, before we get off of this subject, I was the first president of YouTube. I was fortunate enough to be part of the community process. I was asked to get involved. They contacted me. There was a group of people that I did not know prior to that, and so I got nominated, and there was 9 candidates. 8 were human, and there was 1 dog. Yeah, see, this is not well known. One or two of the candidates dropped out before the election, so there were, I think, 7 choices when it came down to it. And it was an open process. Voting was done by comments and video responses. Video responses showed the channel who was voting. For example, there was a channel called Mr.E-Walker who voted for myself, or my alter ego, and that was the first time you saw Mystery-Walker, the real person, because all he was doing was posting cartoons prior to that. So there was a lot of things going on with this community process and the interaction and the meetings, online meetings, virtual type of friendship. And you have a lot of experience coming from it because you're able to present yourself. You're broadcasting your ideas, your personal life. And my theme was about getting real, being real, as opposed to the TV, which is mostly all acting or mostly all exaggeration, sensationalism. So I was going against that. I thought that YouTube's most important potential, its benefit, its claim to fame was going to be on its personal touch. And a lot of it, just quantity of input, feedback, interactions, quantity. We've never seen anything like that. This is prior to Twitter, prior to Facebook, prior to Instagram, Snapchat, Stickcam, all that webcam stuff. Those live feed. We didn't have that in 2005, 2006. 2006 was the biggest year. Things kind of started from 2003, 2004. You had a 2-year period where video was able to be digitized. So you went from photos into video. So this was amazing, the transition. I would say the great transition to develop the technology is from 2003 to 2005, and the usage of it and putting it out there for the public happened between 2005 to 2006 in a massive way. So we are basically more than 7 years past that, going on 8 years of having this sink in to the collective consciousness that it's become a part of history. It has enough history now. It's not just 1 year of it. It's like 8 years of changing our life, our culture. So you go from the idea of it, the vision, the planning, and then you go to the inception and the experience of it. This whole cultural phenomenon, socializing, social networking. Actually, more than 8 years of it, because prior to that, you had a lot of MySpace for the music, because audio is easier to stream and digitize. And also at the same time, you had Friendster, if you remember that. And you had AOL, America Online Network. There was social networking going on. There was some features, and you had instant messaging. So this was about 10, 11 years ago, maybe up to 12 years ago, all that stuff. After the 90s. At the end of the 90s, this stuff started to get developed after bulletin boards and email. So the social networking took on another side where you can make groups of friends, and it could be global, and you could send pictures with it. Then it became multimedia. Pictures and audio were integrated, and then video, which had everything, and streaming, and then it became live. You could do live shows over the most recent phase. So now we reach this plateau. Google Plus is taking over. It's a lot of people claim that it's the ruination of YouTube. It's the destruction. So it's changes and transformation that's going on, and most people don't know why. It's not being told. We get the cover story, we get the little blog, the little statement they want to put out, but there's always more to it. And as I always say, if you can't figure it out, if there's something in the world, the answer is always somebody is making money on it. And usually the government has their hand in there if they know somebody's making money on it. So it's a government decision, government involvement, not necessarily good for the people or what the people want. So that's enough of that subject. I want to go into my personal life because right now I'm exhausted. I didn't get enough sleep, and I still have a lot of thoughts, and I need to get them out there. I need to get this on the record. My family is always the greatest joy when I have some family, and usually I always have family. But my problem right now is that my family is scattered, and I don't want to get into it that much because the pain, you can hear it in my voice almost when I try to say about it. It's just like, it's very sad. If you were going through something like this, you don't want that. And I'm sure you don't have a lot of experiences like this. I'm sure a lot of you haven't gone through this. So, on one hand, I don't want to go and get all emotional on you. And on the other hand, I don't want to trouble you to go through all this. All I want you to do is just accept the fact of how much I'm suffering right now. And I gotta keep a lid on it. I'm keeping it together. I'm not on medication. I'm not going to any therapy. I'm just internalizing it, processing it, and I'm praying. I have enormous faith. Let's put it this way. If you had a daughter, a wonderful little daughter, that you love, your bundle of joy, everything, your hopes, and joys and all the fun and the responsibility, it's all taken away. So I've gone through this. You haven't seen any videos of me with my daughter, but I carry on and I pray for her all the time, and the child doesn't get outwardly affected all the time. A child is able to deal with it because it doesn't sit in, but it's going to affect her for her lifetime. And I'm hoping to solve this situation that's going on. If you would pray, I would really appreciate it. And I know that you care, even if you don't want to pray. Some of you are stubborn and we have disagreement about it, so don't pray. But therefore you just accept what I'm going through, and it's just like, oh well, hopefully he'll solve it. And even if you don't pray, you wouldn't want to go through anything like this. Unless you're heartless, unless you have no humanity. Let's just top it all off and end with this. I've already endured this suffering one other time in my life. For more than 15 years. Okay, so this is the second time. I just want to talk about relationships when I get to this point, and I just realized that how many of you have relationships? How many of you have been in love? You've been committed, you've been married, interdependency. How many of you had kids? This is what I recommend, and it's what most of the spiritual thinkers and philosophers recommend, most prophets, such as I am. It's better to be single. Focus on yourself. Be a monk. Celibate. Take a vow of celibacy. There are many religions that have monasteries. You have the cloak that you wear, the garb. You know, it's better to be like that because then you know who else is doing that. It's identifiable, and it's a great tradition. For those of us who do not, but we're wise enough to know how a relationship destroys the individual soul, robs it, fights it, takes away, steals your soul. That's why monks respect those that are married. The priests, they respect it, but they go like this. Those that are married, couples, the ones that have to have families, it's so sad. We pity them. I pity them. I pity myself. Because the greatest war, the greatest struggle on this planet, if you have to pick one, is the eternal struggle between male and female. It seems eternal. It probably is not. You know, it started at some point and just kept rolling from then till we can't get out of it. Unless we go towards androgyny. The reason why we have a lot of sex changes now and a lot of homosexuality It seems to be somewhat on the rise. All these things are related, and they are the reaction, they're the compensation, they're proposing some kind of solution, if only temporary solution, to the war between the sexes. That's why I accept homosexuality. I don't want to be homosexual. I love the soul. It doesn't matter whether you're male, female, or in between, or changed, transsexual. It doesn't matter. I read your soul. And there are those that I love, and there are those that I feel sorry for. And they're wicked, and they can't be changed. They won't listen. You can tell them, and then you can't. It's like, don't throw pearls to the swine. But I love at the soul level. You can't. It's not homosexual. Like, if a man has done his work and he's spiritual and he's awakened and he's wise and he's doing good, he's not creating karma, then I love him. I love that. I have more stronger love, definite love for a person like that than I've had for some of the women that I've slept with and supported and had around me. Because they were low. They were confused. God, they're just such a burden. And they probably would say the same about me. So that's the war. It's tit for tat. It's you did it. No, you did it. You did it. You did it. No amount of therapy can completely solve the situation, because you will be in therapy forever. It can't cure it. It can just minimize the symptoms. So what does it mean for being a parent? I've already said the struggle between that. There is another struggle to transfer knowledge. There's good versus evil. And as a parent, you have to give the most of good in your knowledge, in your protection, and your way of life to your child or your children, plural. That's what good does. That's why we have families. That's our responsibility as parents. And the children are responsible to be obedient and to listen to parents and try to absorb and learn what's good, so that they can also be the next generation which is fighting against evil. Now, of course, if you're a parent and you're evil and you're just raising an evil offspring, then, I don't know what to say to you. Usually you don't have parents like that. Usually evil people are single, or they've given up their kids and they're not parenting. That would show that they're evil. They don't care. They're just trying to transfer evil. And the most evil thing you can do to a child is cut it off or abandon it. Throw it to someone else in the world. That's evil. You've given up to where evil can come in. You have provided no protection, no support, no basic needs. We have a lot of complaints about that. So that adds fuel to the fire of the war between the sexes. And it's all interconnected. But the greatest battle, if you have to pick one, is just the difference they have. It's the spice of life, yeah. It makes people, do things, crazy things, and 95% of all the songs in the world are about that. But it's repetitious. It doesn't teach us, it doesn't make it any better. It's just like, like the old cowboy, what is that, country western music. You know, she stole my truck and left me. So you're sitting in the saloon getting drunk. Or whatever genre, rap, pop, blah blah blah, it's all the same. They're not teaching anybody. They're just making you spiral deeper into the black hole of bad love. Relationships that don't work. Dysfunctional. You get with the wrong person. First of all, we need to learn how to select the right person and how to do that. How do you check out a person before you decide to get in with them and get in with them deeper and deeper? How do you decide? What's the process? What are the methods that you have to use? People just throw in together, man, and it's always, oh, it's the wrong person, and you're stuck, and you can't get out because you don't want to. You don't want to be alone. You want to work it out. You want to keep trying, but then it's like, well, could I be trying with somebody else? Could I change this? Could I do any better with somebody? Or do I invested enough and I'm stuck in it? We got the same place, we got the same friends, we're just used to it, and we're stuck together. Usually people get stuck together for about 1 year or 2 years before something finally collapses and they give up. But if they have kids, it can end, and then the father, the male, is usually the one that gets kicked out, and he's just got to feed money into whatever the woman wants with the kids. That's how they set up society. That's a major problem because it doesn't solve anything. In fact, in most cases, the majority of cases, it's just making things worse. It feeds the prison population. It makes the government think that it needs to take care of us, the court system. It's just a burden on public society just to be that way with the children. It just depresses the next generation. Divorce and separation and families, and there's no balance. So many children growing up, and understanding the female side is easy. It's the mother. Okay, we come out of the mother. So when we're a child, we try to get that. Breastfeeding is great. That's the core of it. But if you don't get that, there's all other kinds of substitutes. And then we have drug addiction coming about it from that. But what about with the male, with the father? We don't really identify with that. Oh, he's supposed to give money. Is that really what a father's for? Is that like the main thing? Or is that just something that was added on because of the problem, the battle between the sexes, the big war, the eternal struggle? Now we come to my favorite subject about money, don't we? You know my favorite subject is money. God, I should do a whole new video about money. What else do I want to talk about? I'll just save that for focus, because that's very hard to talk about. I should talk about we'll go to another video because I'm rambling. This will just be the mystery vlog and how we choose to focus on people, who we choose to focus on, who do we allow to resonate with us and influence us. I'm so glad that you chose me when there's so many other choices in the world. There's exponentially growing to infinity of choices that you could find, and surfing and changing the channel of YouTube forever. But if you keep coming back here, I'm going to keep doing what I do. And I'm one of the people on here who doesn't quit. Thank you for watching. Share this with all your friends. Make sure you're subscribed. Double check that. And now you gotta do it on Google Plus so you can comment. Whatever. Don't worry about all this paranoid stuff with that thing. you comment to me and they ain't gonna do nothing. As long as you make a comment in with me and it's a real discussion, you have protection. Trust me on that one.